Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare. So, welcome to today's session. We are studying from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 6. So, we have studied till text 19, the previous session. Now we are seeing from text 20 onwards where the Lord instructs and consoles Narada. Okay. So seeing my attempts, the Lord, who is inexpressible by words, agochara giram, inexpressible, we cannot express, we cannot explain the Lord in words. Agochara giram, or he is beyond our words. Spoke to me with gravity and pleasing words, gambhira, slakshnaya vacha, to mitigate my grief. Okay. Seeing my attempts in that lonely place, the personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to all mundane description. So, for explain in that way, that who is transcendental to all mundane description, spoke to me with gravity and pleasing words, just to mitigate my grief. Evam yatantam vijane mam aha gochara giram. Aha gochara giram. Okay, so in the Vedas, it is said that God is beyond the approach of mundane words and intelligence. And yet, by his causeless mercy, one can have suitable senses to hear him or to speak to him. This is the Lord's inconceivable energy. One can hear him upon whom his mercy is bestowed. So that's the main point. He is saying that the Lord was very much pleased with Narad Muni, and therefore the necessary strength was invested in him so that he could hear the Lord. Okay. So it was a special gift for Narad Muni. It was a special gift for him. When he heard the pleasing words of the Lord, the feelings of separation were to some extent mitigated. So the Lord gave him darshan first, and now the Lord gave him this transcendental voice. The Lord gave him the message. Spoke with pleasing words. So what did the Lord speak? Antasmin Shanmani Bhavan. O Narada, the Lord spoke, I regret that during this lifetime you will not be able to see me anymore. It's once. That's all. So those who are incomplete in service and who are not completely free from all material taints can hardly see me. Those who are incomplete in service and those who has still some material taint remaining cannot see me, actually. So, actually, there is no trace of tinge of materiality in his person, and thus no one who has the slightest tinge of material affection cannot approach him. That is to say, one must be free from all desires for some gratification. Otherwise, one cannot see the Lord. To serve the audience of God in a lonely forest is considered to be in the mode of goodness. One can go out into the forest to attain spiritual perfection, but that does not mean that one can see the Lord personally here, there. And Prabhupada is glorifying devotional service here. Devotional So devotional service can be, anyone can take up a devotional service. Kinnaras, Kirat, Nantra, Pulinda, Pulkosh, anyone. And anyone can get that. Kinnaras, Gandharvas, Rishis, Munish. Everyone can become devotee of Lord. By his activities, he has engaged many devotees like Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, and many others. Everyone got teachings of Narad Muni. Narad Muni is completely free from material hankerings. Okay. So a virtuous one, you have only one sin mean person, and this is just to increase your desire for me, because the more you hanker for me, the more you will be freed from all material desires. So a living being cannot be vacant of desires. He is not a dead stone. He's not a dead stone. So we have desires. We cannot say that, nobody can say that I don't have any desire. So the desire to be desireless is itself is a desire. So what is desire, or what is to be free from desire means by a devotee or for a devotee, it is to have spiritual desires and not a material desire. That's called to be freed from material desires, or to be desireless. In reality, we cannot be desireless, technically speaking. So practically speaking, that's having only spiritual desires. The more a person is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, the more he acquires a hankering for it. This is another sutra to understand. The more a person is engaged, that's the personal application for us. The more we engage ourselves in devotional service, more we get. So we need to grab and hanker for the chances to serve the Lord, to be engaged in devotional service. That's is what to be done, or the workshop, the exercise for us. Because we are given everything, whole process. We know Bhagavatam, we are studying, we know the process, we know the philosophy, we received the knowledge from spiritual master, got initiation, got the mantra, and everything is there. Everything is same. It's not changing, not going to change. That okay, after 10 years, this mantra is going to change, or the philosophy is going to have an upgradation. Something new is going to be added to the philosophy. No, philosophy is going to be the same. Mantra is going to be the same. Book is Bhagavad is going to be the same. Deity is going to be the same. Dham is going to be the same. The potency of the Lord, of course, that's unlimited. It's unlimited, but the potency of the holy name, how they can deliver us, is going to be the same. Just that, then what the difference? What should we do? If everything is going to be the same, then what should we do? No, we should increase our hankering, we should increase our attachment for them. So that's the personal application. The more we search for engagement in devotional service, the more we get out of hankering for the material world, and we get hankering for the Lord. See, one can go on increasing his hankerings for the loving transcendental service of the Lord, and yet he will not find satiation nor end. Hmm. Not situation or end. Okay. So, by service of the absolute truth, even for a few days, a devotee attained firm and fixed intelligence in me. Consequently, he goes on to become my associate in the transcendental world after giving up the present deplorable material worlds. By service of the Lord, the absolute truth, even for a few days, devotee can get firm and fixed intelligence in me. Nice verse. Satsevaya adhirgayapi. Adhirgayapi. One doesn't, okay, it's not that, okay, only after serving for 10 years or 50 years or 30 years only one can get it. In the other fields, like for example, singing, you may say after practicing for, okay, 10, 20 years you practice, and then you perfect your voice, you perfect your uh, everything. You do sadhana of music, or you do in any other fields. You need to give some time. More you give time, more you practice it, then you perfect it, master it. But in devotional service, it's not. It's not that, okay, just by giving time. One can give 50 years also, but still one might not be able to please the Lord and do it nicely. On the other hand, someone might do for 5 days or even one day, or maybe a few minutes, and can surrender to Krishna. So that's the beauty of bhakti, that it doesn't depend on time. Hmm? That's it's really the beauty of bhakti. That in bhakti we do not need to depend on time. We don't need to wait in bhakti. That's one thing. The second thing is that it's not going to change in bhakti. Mantra is not going to change, the grantha is not going to change, the process is not going to change, the dham and nothing is going to change. It's going to be the same. Not that. Otherwise, in this world, it's a headache, Like you get the phone, and every now and then you can computer they get Windows update. If you are using Apple, then iOS update. If you are using phone, then phone Android or iPhone iOS, all these things need to update. If you don't update, some other softwares will not work, or it will stop. It will keep on sending a message, a notification, update, 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 update. Or I bought a phone, used for 2 3 years, now it got slow. There is newer model of phones are there in the market. I need to buy that. Even if my phone is going on nicely, but I'll get temptations that, oh, my phone is iPhone 11, but now they have launched iPhone 15. So I'm behind the trend. I need to update myself, the latest thing. Material will always update, update, update. But in bhakti, we don't need to update. Mantra is not, we don't need to update the mantra, we don't need to update the book or nothing, everything. Once you buy Bhagavatam, that's all. This Bhagavatam is going to be your whole life. Once you take the holy name, okay, it's whole life. It's not that every few months you change mantra, or every few months or every few years you have to get a new book. No. That Bhagavatam, one Bhagavatam is sufficient. So that's the beauty of bhakti. And we don't need to wait. One can say, oh, I came so late in bhakti. Yeah, that's one lamentation of devotees sometimes say, oh, I came to bhakti in late. I came when I'm 40 years old. Now I came to bhakti. I have come to bhakti. So all my 40 years of my life I have wasted. So that's good. That's good lamentation. Devotees have lamentation. And this devotee, he was a born devotee, or maybe he came to Krishna consciousness when he was 5 years or 10 years old. So since 10 years he is doing bhakti, and I have lost my first 40 years of life. So yeah, that's good thought or good lamentation. But even if someone has come in the age of 40 or 50 years old, still he has an equal chance. Equal chance. Someone might be doing bhakti since 10 years old, for last 30 or 40 years. And someone has come to bhakti just yesterday. So both will have equal chances today to progress in bhakti. Service of the absolute truth involves rendering service into the absolute personality of Godhead under the direction of bona fide spiritual master, who is a transparent via medium between the Lord and the neophyte devotee. So, that's the main another secret, that service under guidance of bona fide authority. So what is a neophyte devotee? Who is a neophyte devotee? Is it that, okay, a devotee has joined the movement, ISKCON 1 year back, he's a neophyte, and the devotee who joined 15 years back, he is senior devotee? That's the point. Someone might have joined 50 years back, still he can be neophyte. And someone might have joined just 1 year back, he can advance. And by such training, even for some days, the neophyte devotee gets intelligence in such transcendental service, which leads him ultimately to get free from perpetual inhabitation in the material worlds and to be promoted in the transcendental world, to become one of the liberated associates of the Lord in the kingdom of God. Matirmayi nibadhyayam na vipadyeta kadhichit. Prajasargo nirodhyepi smritischa madanugrahat. Intelligence engaged in my devotion cannot be thwarted at any time, even at the time of creation as well as at the time of annihilation. Your remembrance will continue by way of mercy. The Lord is continuing to speak. So that's the hope for us. Bhakti doesn't never go in vain. So that's the theological, that's the conviction of a devotee. Bhakti never go in vain. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that such transcendental service rendered unto the personality of Godhead accumulates birth after birth, and when the devotee is fully matured, the total service counted together makes him eligible to enter into the association of personality of Godhead. So then that supreme authority personified by sound and unseen by eyes, but most wonderful, stopped speaking. Feeling a sense of gratitude, I offered my obeisances unto him, bowing my head. So that the personality of God who was not seen but only heard does not make any difference. The personality of God had produced the 4 Vedas by his breathing, and he is seen and realized the transcendental sounds of the Vedas. Lord can be seen only by pure devotees of him. नामान्यनन्त्यस्य तत्र पठन् गुह्यानि भद्राणि कृतानि च स्मरन् गां पर्यटं स्तुष्टमना कतस्पृहा कालं प्रतीक्षन् Vimado Vimasaraha, another wonderful verse. That thus I began chanting the holy name of and fame of the Lord by repeated recitation, ignoring all the formalities of material world. Such chanting and remembering of the transcendental pastime of the Lord, a benedictory. So doing, I traveled all over the earth, fully satisfied, humble, and unenvious. The life of a sincere devotee of the Lord is thus explained in a nutshell by Narad Muni by his personal example. Such a devotee, after his initiation by the Lord or his bona fide representative, takes very seriously chanting of the glories of the Lord, traveling all over the world. So, thus he did that. Narad Muni began chanting all over the world and started to follow it. And so, O Brahman Vyasdev, in due course of time, I, who was fully absorbed in thinking of Krishna and who therefore had no attachments, being completely freed from all material taints, met with death as lightning and illumination occur simultaneously. So Narad Muni, how he left this body, it was like illumination, lightning. He met with death and got his transcendental body. He got it. So that is just like an illumination for the pure devotee of Lord. It's not painful for the devotee of Lord. It's just illumination. He goes into spiritual association of Supreme Lord. In due course of time, the pure devotee is completely prepared. All of a sudden, the change of body occurs, which is commonly called death. And for the pure devotee, such a change takes place exactly like lightning. Illumination follows simultaneously. Yeah. So that's for a devotee, pure devotee. Material body and develops a spiritual body by the will of the Supreme. Even before death also, a devotee is not bothered by just material changes and other things. A pure devotee has no material affection due to his body being spiritualized, even before death also. Having been awarded a transcendental body befitting an association of the personality of Godhead, I quit the body made of 5 material elements, and thus all acquired fruitive results of work karma stopped. So how he got a spiritual body and his result of fruitive results of work stopped. Karma stopped. So karma is not eternal. Karma is temporary till the moment we are in material association and in under the contamination. We do karma. The moment we get freed out of this material realm, we are everything becomes spiritualized. Karma also ends there. Material body is always afflicted with these 3 inabilities. What are these 3 inabilities? Fruitive activities, material modes of nature, freedom from primary transcendental qualities, namely eternity, Sat, freedom from material modes, and freedom from reaction of fruitive activities. This means the quality of a devotee's body changes from material to transcendence. Just like we have metal or maybe stone, and we get stone, and the sculptor, he curves and makes a deity form of the Lord. And then the Brahmanas, perfect pure Brahmanas, they chant the mantras of Vedas, invite the Lord and install the deity. Immediately, the stone becomes transcendental body of the Lord. Similarly, a devotee, his body can become also transcendental. Why not? So at the end of millennium, When the personality of Godhead, Lord Narayana, lies down within the water of devastation, Brahma begins to enter into him along with all creative elements, and I also entered through his breathing. So that's what happened here. Lord instructs and consoles Narada, that you saw. See, another point, Acharya's comment here, beautiful point. That Narada actually didn't have any material desires, being at the level of prema already. See, he was on the level of prema. But by saying this, the Lord increased his humility, made it humble. The Lord does this for his pure devotee. Material service has satiation, whereas the spiritual service of the Lord has neither satiation nor end, but the devotee hankers to enter it. It goes on. Satiation. Narada's full perfection. Vyasdev might have asked here that if you have an eternal Buddha, then why are you considered to have been born from Brahma in this Swayambhu Manvantara? So he's saying here, at the end of previous Kalpa, when Lord breathed in at the time of universal devastation, he entered his body along with Brahma. Narada Muni entered the body of Supreme Lord, son of Brahma. So, Supreme Lord's appearance, disappearance are transcendental. Similarly, his pure devotees' appearance, disappearance are also transcendental. After this many years, Sahasra Yoga Paryante, after 430 crores solar years, how do you count this? Brahma awakes to create again by will of the Lord. And all the rishis like Marichi, Angira, Atri, and so on are created from the transcendental body of the Lord. And I also appear along with them. So Narada Muni also appears. Duration of a day in the life of Brahma is this many solar years. 432 crores solar years. This is stated also in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8. In chapter 8, we find that. So for this period, Brahmaji rests in Yoga Nidra within the body of Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Sri Narada is eternally free to move in all parts of transcendental and material creations of the Almighty. He appears and disappears in his own transcendental body, which is without distinction of body and soul, unlike conditioned beings. So, Antarbahishcha lokam strin, Antarbahishcha lokam, Antar and Bahish, lokam strin of the three planetary systems, three divisions. Since then, by the grace of the Almighty Vishnu, I travel everywhere without Antarbahishcha lokam strin, without restriction, both in transcendental world and in the three divisions of material world. This is because I am fixed in unbroken devotional service of the Lord. So that's important. Unbroken devotional service. It's not broken. So our devotional service is broken. We do one day bhakti, other day we do other things. 1 hour bhakti, 1 hour Krishna, another hour Shah Rukh Khan. That's our bhakti. One day we do Krishna bhakti, another day we are doing bhakti to Shah Rukh Khan and Virat Kohli. So that's why our bhakti is broken. But Narada Muni's bhakti is not broken, it's unbroken. Urdhaloka, Madhyaloka, and Adholoka, these three lokas. Means downwards in three ways. Although we know the 14 planetary systems, but now saying three, like Adha, Madhya, and Urdha. Okay. So he talks about, Prabhupada talks about Vaikuntha, which is self-illuminated. So the rishis, as above mentioned, cannot enter into the transcendental world like Narada. This fact is disclosed in Narasimha Purana. Rishis like Maharishi are authorities in fruitive work. Rishis like Shanaka Sanatana are authorities in philosophical speculation. But Sri Narad Muni is the prime authority for transcendental devotional service of the Lord. All the great authorities in devotional service of the Lord follow in the footsteps of Narad Muni in the order of Narada Bhakti Sutra. And therefore, all the devotees of the Lord are unhesitatingly qualified to enter into the kingdom of God, Vaikuntha. And thus I travel constantly singing the glories of the Lord and transcendental messages, vibrating this instrument called a vina, which is charged with transcendental sound and which was given to me by Lord Krishna. So Krishna only gave him the vina. Narad Muni plays the vina. Narada Muni bajai vina radhikaramana name. He plays the vina and gone, chanting the glories of Lord. So 7 singing meters: sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa. That's the 7 saptaswaras. The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, whose glories and activities are pleasing to hear, at once appears on the seat of my heart, as if called for as soon as I begin to chant his activities, holy activities. It starts holy activities. The personality of Godhead is not different from his transcendental name, form, pastime, and sound vibrations thereof. So, as soon as he chants the glories of Lord, the Lord appears at once in his heart. So that's Narad Muni. The Lord, being also an individual personality like others, is not an exception to the psychology, because psychological characteristics visible in the individual souls are but reflections of the Lord. So just like we in this world like to hear our own glories, if someone glorifies us, we say that no, don't glorify, but we like it, isn't it? We like it in heart. That's the nature. So similarly, Supreme Lord also likes it when his devotees sing his glories. Since he is absolute, he can appear himself in the picture of his glorification. It is personally experienced by me that those who are always full of cares and anxieties due to desiring contact of the senses with their objects can cross the ocean of nescience on the most suitable boat, the constant chanting of the transcendental activities of personality of Godhead. Etadhi atura chittana matra svarshechayamuhu bhavo sindhu plavo drishta haricharyanu varnanam. The boat of suitable boat, the constant chanting. The Harikatha is the boat with which we can. Elsewhere it said that in Bhagavatam that our human form of life, that's human body is a boat. Here they're saying our Harikatha is a boat. Okay. So last few verses, Narad Muni concludes his instructions and departs. Harikatha is like a boat. No one can stop thinking, feeling, willing, or working processes. But if one wants actual happiness, One must change the subject matter from mundane subjects to the activities of the Lord and his eternal associates. Should go on. Hari Katha should go on. Chanting the whole holy name and holy fame. Narad Muni is constantly chanting. We should also chant and hear his glories of Krishna Katha. Okay, beautiful purport also. Now in text 35, he talks about, he again glorifies bhakti indirectly. It is true that by practicing restraint of the senses by the yoga system, one can get relief from the disturbance of desire and lust. But this is not sufficient to give satisfaction to the soul. For this satisfaction is derived from devotional service to the personality of God. So indirectly, he is again glorifying Supreme Lord, that only by devotional service to Supreme Lord one can get satisfaction of soul. Yatma suprasidati. Tathatma adhana shamyati. So, senses are considered like venomous serpents, and the yoga system is to control them. Serpents. So all the yoga systems and these things that one can try to control oneself, but ultimately only bhakti is the thing which can make us fully freed from all contaminations. Is like Menaka and Vishwamitra. This example is given. Vishwamitra Muni, he was doing hardcore austerity, but he was a favorite example of Srila Prabhupada regarding this. All the time you will find the Prabhupada will quote the Vishwamitra Muni, Shobhari Muni, Haridas Thakur. He will contrast the example of Haridas Thakur and Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra Muni, the great sage, yogi, but he fell in trap of Menaka. Because he was not Bhakta yogi, he was Dhyan yogi. But Haridas Thakur, even though Maya Devi herself came to elude Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur couldn't be. So how Prabhupada all the time, how he repeats these examples. Amazing. O Vyasadeva, you are freed from all sins, as I have explained my birth and activities for self-realization. As you asked, all this will be conducive for your personal satisfaction also. All this will be conducive for your personal satisfaction also. I've explained my birth and activities for self-realization. The process of devotional activities from the beginning of the to the stage of transcendence is all duly explained to satisfy the inquiries of Vyasadeva. Everything is nicely explained. So now Narad Muni is concluding his teachings. One should go on chanting and hearing Krishna Katha. That's the main thing here. He also explained how by execution of pure transcendental service, pure bhakti, one can get rid of fruitive action, accumulated work, and how one can get spiritual body. So all the mysteries of transcendental realization are duly explained by Narad Muni himself. And he is the authority, therefore, in bhakti. Now Sutta Goswami is concluding that thus addressing Vyasadeva, Narad Muni took leave of him, and vibrating on his Bina instrument, he left to wander at his free will. Narad Muni bajhaye Bina Radhikara Muni Name. He is going everywhere. He is free. Real freedom we can get by bhakti. Everybody is anxious of freedom. But actually you cannot get freedom. And only freedom can be achieved by bhakti only. When we do bhakti, we are free. Actually we feel free. Because we don't need to fear anyone in this world when we do really depend on God, Krishna. Dependence on Krishna can give us real freedom from fear and anxiety. No, yeah, Krishna will take care. So why to be anxious? We can just imagine the extent and unlimitedness of his freedom, which is as good as that of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All glory and success to Sri Narad Muni, because he glorifies the activities of the Personality of Godhead, and so doing he himself takes pleasure and also enlivens all the distressed souls of the universe. All glory to Narad Muni. Narad Muni plays on his instrument to glorify the transcendental activities of the Lord and to give relief to all miserable living entities of the universe. To give relief to all. His mission is to get them back home, back to Godhead. There is a mission of all genuine devotees of the Lord, following the footsteps of that great sage Narad Muni. So we all are following the footsteps of Narad Muni. Okay. Okay. So that's does end the 6th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Conversation between Narada and Vyasa. Haribol.